Hello and welcome to video number 2. Now, in the last video we talked about how do we look at and break apart right triangles that are similar because they were formed with an altitude. In this one, we're actually applying that now and solving for the missing sides with real numbers. So, rather than complex or imaginary numbers. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's start by actually drawing ourselves a right triangle, putting some numbers on it, and then we'll immediately break it apart. Ladies and gentlemen, you may notice that I am using lots of colors for this. It is essential that you do the same. If you don't, the students that I have seen in the past and worked with in the past who have not used more colors, highlighters, crayons, markers, they get lost and confused in the middle of their problem 9 times out of 10. So if you're that 1 out of 10 who can do it with a pencil and nail it, that's amazing and awesome. That's great. Bravo. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, use colors because that absolutely guarantees you'll actually be able to follow and track all the pieces that correspond. And so, here we go. That's not a straight line. There we go. That's a much more straight line. 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic. There's our right angle. Here's our altitude. Boom. There's 90 degrees. There's 90 degrees. Wonderful. And ladies and gentlemen, we know this side is 12. We know this side is 9. And we know this is the variable h. This is the variable x. And this is the variable y. Now, this particular problem also gave us letters for the sides, and they named it A, B, C, and D. It's almost like I picked those letters on purpose last time. So, let's go ahead and break this apart and look at all 3 triangles separately. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually just going to ignore the top part there. And I'm going to advise you to do the same for this next part, which is to just draw your 3 triangles, all with the same orientation and goal of having all the angles matched up and all the sides matched up. So here we go. The big triangle. Boom, boom, boom. Medium triangle. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, sticky keys? Not right now, but thank you. Boom, boom, boom. In case you're wondering why sticky keys pops up so much, it's because in order to make the straight lines, I have to click the shift button. And because I'm doing that more than 5 times in a row, it's asking me if I want to turn on sticky keys. So, I have all 3 triangles. They're all in the same orientation. All the angles are going to be in the same place, so all of the correspondence is going to match without any extra work. So let's do that work now and match our correspondence. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can actually see all of our triangles. And here we go. So we have ourselves the big triangle right here. And that's going to match up. I'm going to choose to match it up exactly like we see it. There's C, there's B, and there's A. Wonderful. Which means we know the sides. This is 12. This is 9. And here, ladies and gentlemen, it's a little bit weird because they don't have a single value. Instead, they have 2 variables. Which means we know what the full length is because it's x plus y. It's both the variables together. So let's apply to the middle one now. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we have to think about angles. So we're looking at angle A. Here's where I'm going to use some color to be able to help track my angles. So this is the red angle, which means this is its complementary blue angle. Things have to add up to 90 degrees, right? And so, looking at which triangle we're in, if this is the red angle A, up here in C, This one has to be blue because that's part of the big, gigantic triangle. So that has to be blue up there. And then by process of elimination, the top part of B here also has to be red. And notice this red angle and this blue angle add up to 90 because that's a right angle. And so everything works out the way we would hope for, right? Which means the red angle in part A, when I look at the medium triangle right here, looking at this medium triangle, look at the medium triangle, its red angle is B. So there's side B. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it may be hard to track exactly what I'm talking about here. And so one of the things you can do is you can color code not by triangle, but by corresponding side. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's do that here. Let's model that. So I'm going to use green first because green's a great color. And let's model all of the sides that correspond with CB. So there's CB in the big triangle. Awesome. So where's the sides that match with CB in my other triangles? Because if you notice, in the big triangle, that's going to be between the 90 degrees and the blue angle, right? Because the blue angle is the angle that we're matching here in all three of our triangles because we drew our triangles to correspond. So 90 to blue, 90 to blue. Well, where's the other blue and 90 match? Well, in the medium-sized triangle, there's its 90 degrees, there's its blue side, so there's the blue, so there's our green matching side from D to C. And so, from D down here at the 90 to C up here at the top, that's the green side, which means its variable is X. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's do that for our smallest triangle. Our smallest triangle, well, from the 90 to the blue in the smallest triangle is right here, 90 to blue. So match that up, 90 to blue, 90 to blue, means we're looking at D to B, which means we're looking at the side H. So let's pick the next side we want to do that for. Let's pick our next color to be purple. Purple's a beautiful color. Who doesn't love purple? Go Rams. And let's go ahead and pick the hypotenuse. So there's our hypotenuse. There's the hypotenuse in our big black triangle. And so let's go ahead and match that up then with the hypotenuse in the other two sides. And so the hypotenuse in our medium triangle is between the blue and the red angles. And so medium triangle, blue and red, that's the hypotenuse. And so that's going to be our side of 12. Do the same thing then for the smallest triangle. The smallest triangle is between the blue and the red, and that's going to be right here on the bottom, which is going to be a length of 9. Particularly between the points B and A. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got those two sides taken care of. The last pair of sides, let's go ahead and pick our third color. Oh, orange is a great color. We haven't used orange in a while. So let's go ahead and match that up with the bottom side here. I just realized that that bottom side was a little off, so I wanted to zoom down a little bit so we could see it. So there we go. There's a 9. from B to A, the last part in our big triangle. And we got to match that up now. So looking at the medium triangle, we're looking at the length from B to D, essentially from our 90 to our red angle. There's the 90, there's the red angle. That's the length we're looking for in our medium triangle, which is going to be our value of H. And so that length there is our value of H. And then looking from the length, that's the side from the red to the black, the red from the 90. There's the red, there's the 90. From D to B, from D to A in the smallest triangle. There's that with the Y. And so in the smallest triangle, we know that length is Y. Now we can solve for our variables by matching. And ladies and gentlemen, we can see what matches just by lining up what's in the same position. So if I want to solve for x, I'm going to look for x to match with some of the other sides. And I'm going to try to avoid variables where I can. And so I notice that x matches up with 12, which is great. I know that x matches up with h, which is great. I see that 9, h, and y all match. And I see that x plus y, two variables added together. I'm going to try to avoid using that one to solve if I can. And I see that 12 and 9 match. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that practice under our belt, let's try one more problem. And this time, we're going to go ahead and work out until we reach a solution. So we're going to match them up and we're going to solve. So let's go ahead and do that now. And let's take a look at, there we go. We have ourselves a triangle. It's going to be laying down because it's a little sleepy. Has an altitude. There we go. And what we know is that this is 8, this is 6, the whole length here on the bottom is 10. And then the only two things we're asked to find is this value here, which is x, and this value here, which is h. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and set up our triangles, label what we know, then you actually use proportions to solve. And so, first things first, big triangle, medium triangle, and little triangle. Oh, thank you, sticky keys, but no thank you, sticky keys. Next, this triangle is kind of hard to tell where the angles we care about are at. So I'm going to use a little bit of color coding. I've used red and blue angles all the way up till now, and I think I'm going to keep consistent with that. There is our blue angle, and I'm going to choose to have that angle on top. And so, what do I know then? In order for our shapes to match, every other blue angle's on top. Now, in our diagram, where's the other blue angle? Well, it's going to make more sense if we mark our red angle off first because we can tell what adds up to 90 degrees. In our gigantic triangle here, this is the other angle, so that's going to add up to 90 degrees, so that's going to be red. That's going to be the bottom one there. And then, where's the other blue and red angles? Well, in this side, the medium triangle here, that's going to be the red angle up there at the top. Then, what do I know? In the smaller triangle, the blue angle's at the top. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're starting to notice a pattern, that's awesome. It's always going to be flip-flop, red and blue between the two triangles because it always has to add up to 90 degrees, and that's what it means when they're complementary. And so, You can always rely on that as a pattern and fill that in automatically. Ladies and gentlemen, now we can start filling in what we know. In our biggest triangle, x is not a part of it at all. We know that 10 is the hypotenuse. We know that 8 is the side that goes from blue to our 90-degree angle. And we know that 6 is the side that goes from red to our 90-degree angle. Next, in our medium triangle, we have 8 and h. 8 is the hypotenuse between the blue and the red angles. And h is the side between the 90 and the red. And then, last but not least, in our smallest triangle, we have 6, h, and x. So 6 is the hypotenuse between the blue and the red. H is between the blue and the 90 degree. And the x is between the 90 and the red. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start matching things up to solve. We want to choose our proportion so that we only ever have one variable to solve. And if I look at 8 and h first, I'm picking that one because that's the only triangle with one variable in it. Well, if I try to use a small one here, notice that 8 and 6 match up, but h and x match up, so x is a variable and that doesn't help us out at all. So let's use the other triangle, 8 with 10, h with 6. So, once again, matching up sides, all of the hypotenuses are going to match up. All of our vertical lines are going to match up. And all of the bottoms are going to match up. So, oh, Sticky Keys, you have been my companion this evening. No, thank you. So, 8 with 10. We're going to pick which one we want to have as our image and as our pre-image. I like h on top, so I'm going to put 8 on top. So, we're going to have 8 over 10 equal to h over 6. So let's solve for h. We're able to do that by multiplying and dividing, so let's go ahead and multiply by our denominator on both sides. Multiply by 6, multiply by 6. The 6's cancel out. Our value of h is going to equal 6 times 8 divided by 10, which is 4.8 if you're using a decimal. Generally, though, we're going to ask you to have whole numbers or fractions. And so the answer you get from that is 24 fifths. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's do the same thing and solve for x. Now we could match up x with h, and generally that's an okay thing to do, but I'll admit in this case, because of the fact that it's, a decimal and a fraction, I'm going to want to pick our whole numbers instead. And so we're going to go ahead and match up x with 6 in our big triangle and 6 with 10 in our big triangle. And so what we have then to work with is 6 over 10 equal to x over 6. And so now we're able to solve. Start by multiplying by 6 on both sides to undo division with multiplication. And what we end up with is 36 over 10, or 3.6, equal to x. And of course, we want to have that as a fraction more often than a decimal. So 36 over 10, when you go to reduce by 2, you end up with 18 fifths. Equal to x. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are our two answers. And that h is true for both of our h's down here. Both h's are 24 fifths, and the x is 18/5. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, your work, and your effort. I hope that makes some sense. Of course, I'll be able to see you guys later this week to help you out. But at any point, if you feel stuck, please email me. I'll be more than glad to help. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.